looking live at Texas Memorial Stadium, where a #1 ranked team visits for the first time in 56 years. But this time, it's #1 versus #2. It's Saturday Night Football on ABC. Well, Texas without a couple of players tonight because Mac Brown suspended starting corner Terrell Brown and backup linebacker Tyrell Gatewood after their arrest on misdemeanor marijuana and gun charges earlier in the week. The drug charges against both were dropped yesterday because former linebacker Aaron Harris, who was driving the car, took responsibility. The attorney for Brown says he expects the gun charges to be dropped early next week. Lisa Salters, the fourth member of our team, has more on the story. Lisa?
Well, Brent, Terrell Brown's attorney let me speak to his client for a couple of minutes yesterday, and the first thing that Terrell Brown said to me was, I want to apologize to my teammates, to my coaches, to all the Longhorn fans. He said, I feel like I let everyone down. Brown said, I never meant to be a distraction to the team. I'm a good person. He says, I always try to do the right thing, and right now I have to accept my punishment like a man, learn from my mistakes. And he says, I completely understand Coach Brown's decision. Still, Brown said, it's gonna hurt. He said, I trained for this one game the entire summer. He said it's going to be painful to have to watch it from home. Brent?
Right, Lisa, and Mac Brown made the announcement to the team earlier in the week. Jim Trussell, of course, will probe at the replacement at that corner spot and see what he's got. Texas won the toss. They have deferred. So the Buckeyes will start on offense. And the all-purpose kicker for Texas, the left-footed Greg Johnson, who transferred here from Vanderbilt, and the electrifying Ted Ginn is back inside the 5-yard line. So we will see early what the kickoff strategy will be for the Longhorns. Underway, and a booming kick out of the end zone. So here comes Troy Smith, Bob Davie, and what should the folks at home watch tonight with number 10?
Well, Brent, I think an improved quarterback. I think early in his career he trusted his legs more than he trusted his arm. I think the biggest improvement you'll see is he now stands in that pocket and looks to throw first. This guy can make all the throws.
Antonio Pittman, he's the deep set running back. They put a fullback blocker, Stan White, in front of him. And from that formation, White leads the way, and Pittman is stopped. And that was Marcus Griffin as we take a look now at our city lineup. So for Troy Smith, you recognize the name of the skill guys, several of the linemen, but note Doug Daddish, the senior from Warren. He was the left tackle last year. He's now moved to center. It means that Alex Boone, only a sophomore on the left side, very impressive in that offensive line here for the Buckeyes.
You're going to see a lot of movement here early in this game by Ohio State's offense. Buckeyes coaches feel that Texas is too good to just line up and play. They have to have movement to slow down Texas.
2nd and 7. Take the handoff. Smith's first pass is complete for the first down, and running in space is Ginn, and he can go. 40, 35, and out of bounds. They caught him in space, and as we take a look at that, Bob Davie, that is the key for the Buckeyes.
And the first thing you're going to notice, Troy Smith rolling to his left, Ted Ginn on the little inside slant route, and when you give a guy with world-class speed that much open space, you see what happens.
The accuracy of the throw there by Troy Smith, enabling Ted again to make the catch in stride and utilize his speed to pick up a big gain for Ohio State.
At 46, Kurt, right off the bat, and the Buckeyes threatening. The Buckeyes offense is matched against the Texas defense. So if you will, strength against strength because of the quarterback position. First down and 10. And Smith pulls back out. Has time. Fires over the middle. Incomplete. Just a touch shorter, and he might have had Brian Hartline for 6. We check now that Texas defense. And, of course, Lisa filled you in on the details of the key story. Veterans up front. And Ryan Palmer, number 29, and he will be working in there. They will substitute Brandon Foster in there along with Palmer. So, in effect, you're going to have both of them trying to replace Terrell Brown here tonight. Second and 10. Pittman on a fine cut. And there was daylight there, Bob Davie, for the first down.
And you're going to watch Antonio Pittman. This is a great cutback run. He shows great vision. He gets an excellent block by Rory Nichols, the big tight end. And when I asked Joe Daniels, their offensive quarterback coach, give me one word on Antonio Pittman, he said tough.
Toughness, the power to be able to get in there, and the also great vision. And coach, as you said, nice cut back there to see the open hole in the backside.
Aaron Ross goes over with Ginn off to Troy Smith's left. But they run that option look with Pittman, and Pittman powers just short of the 15-yard line.
When you talk about the impact players for Ohio State, it's pretty obvious. We've already seen number 10, we've already seen number 25, and we've seen number 7. That's a great graphic right there because those are impact guys.
A lot of option play action, couple passes off the option attack from the shotgun. That time a pitch and a big gain. Interesting the way they're trying to attack from the option here early.
And using the fullback again, Stan White in front of Pittman to try and clear another hole on the right side, but he is snagged and brought down. Roderick McElroy, a backup linebacker, number 38, the redshirt freshman, whom they are very impressed with, Kirk.
They feel that they have the defensive speed to be able to win the battle up front at the line of scrimmage and attack downhill. That's what's so surprising about this first drive by Ohio State. Mixing up their formations, mixing up their play calling. Very, very balanced and keeping Gene Chizik's defense on their heels here early in this game.
And if I'm Texas defense right now, don't let number 10 run with that football on 3rd and 4.
And Pittman is out now, and they empty it with Maurice Wells. Smith can't find a receiver, dances, and he is down, and he is covered up by the middle linebacker who was spying Rashad Bobineau, who's a weak side linebacker a year ago, and 44 keeping an eye on number 10, and it's field goal time for the Buckeyes.
And Gene Chizik, Texas defensive coordinator, loves speed over size. That's a tremendous job by Rashad Bobineau spying on Troy Smith.
Aaron Petrie, redshirt freshman. This is a 29-yarder. No Nugent, no Houston. So Aaron Petrie, the 28-yarder, and no good. So the drive peters out. Wide left. And now Texas will have their first at bat. So when you come back, you'll see the freshman quarterback from Tuscola, Texas. He's 6'3", weighs 205 pounds, Kirk. Colt McCoy is second start.
Well, he is a gym rat. He is a young man who has worked very, very hard for this opportunity as a freshman. Thought about it, dreamed about it. He's about to take his first snap in a big game as a quarterback at Texas.
That familiar shotgun that Vince Young used and rode to an undefeated season. And on first down, Selvin Young, he's got a little more dash than a year ago when he came back from major knee surgery. And you can see on the first carry of the game, Colt McCoy from Tuscola, Texas, down at about 700, one stoplight downtown, and as Kirk told me, it's always blinking.
When you have a young quarterback like this, it's so important for him to get rid of the butterflies. And a lot of times, it's a quick little throw, get the completion out of the way, and then start to manage the offense.
Going without that huddle here just to pick up some rhythm. McCoy keeps it. And Malcolm Jenkins, the corner, makes the stop for the Buckeyes and our city offensive line. So, Colt, you can see, you recognize some of the names, and you see Selvin. Lima Swede had the winning catch, of course. But Justin Blaylock passed up an opportunity to go to the NFL to come back for his senior season. And Colt is very happy to have the big rascal over there at right tackle. 2nd and 7. Pass was low, scooped up, and it's going to be incomplete. Wasn't that a one-hopper? That was a baseball player making the catch there, Quan Cosby, and he took off. in his old sport, that was legal. And our Buckeye defense here, fine front four. But the rest of them, they've got to replace. And Laurinaitis, who started in the middle because of Carpenter's injury in the Fiesta Bowl, he'll have to anchor the linebackers and bring this group along. Now it's 3rd down and 7 for Colt. What a wonderful, wonderful name for a Texas quarterback, Colt McCoy. Looking to pull the trigger. Batted away beautifully by James Laurinaitis, the linebacker we told you about, making a big defensive play here for the Bucs.
The first thing you're going to see is Vernon Golston, the outside linebacker slash defensive end, gets great pressure. Colt McCoy steps up, and the Texas fans wanted pass interference on number 33, James Laurinaitis, the linebacker, but didn't get it.
It's very obvious that Ohio State moving around quite a bit before the snap, hoping to confuse the young quarterback to try to get him to put the ball into coverage.
Here comes Ginn. You saw number 7. You can't wait to see what they do with this punt. Johnson hangs it high. Ginn drifts back. Got it on the 14, and he's covered up and down at the 10-yard line. Michael Griffin, the twin brother of Marcus, who has worked his way into the starting lineup, comes down on Ted Ginn and makes the stop. Capitol building here in Austin, the great state of Texas. And Bob Davie, you were a Texas Aggie defensive coordinator. I know you've got some good thoughts. And right after this first play by the Buckeyes, I want to ask you about the crowd in Austin. On the play fake, Smith rolls out to the right. There's Gonzalez, and that'll be a 1st and 10. Now it's a sellout. It's jam-packed. It was so noisy in Columbus a year ago. Will this disrupt the offense?
Well, Brent, this is one of my favorite places to play all across America because it's a great environment. The crowd noise is not a big factor. You notice all that grass behind the end line right there. And really, that's room for Bevo to graze down there, but it allows the crowd noise to escape this stadium. So I don't think it's much of a factor. In the way Ohio State's offense is playing right now, you can see it isn't.
And Bevo's upset because Ugg is in the red zone. And then if you want to check those rascals out, 1st down and 10, and Troy Smith puts it back in Ginn's hands. Short gain this time to the 30. You know, Kirk, as we watch Troy Smith and Ginn, of course, virtually brothers from the Cleveland area. Talk about the maturation of Troy Smith. I know you live in Columbus. You've been so close to it.
Well, he's become a very confident leader over the course of the last year and a half. I think what happened really is the coaches halfway through last season began to become confident in his abilities. They trusted him more, and now he is trusting his own decision-making. So he comes into this atmosphere with this crowd on the road, very similar to the way Vince Young came into Columbus last year. A confident leader who believes in his team's ability to play.
2nd and 7. And Pittman is stopped in the hole by Marcus Griffin. 3rd down and 7. And we will catch up with John here a little bit later. Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator of Texas. 29 straight victories he has been the coordinator for, folks. He was with an undefeated Auburn prior to coming to Texas. Last year's undefeated national championship, and right now Gonzalez is giving him heartburn. Bob Davie, number 11, is stepping up as a big-time receiver here.
And I'll tell you what, is there any question about Troy Smith's arm strength? But he goes to Gonzalez, and anytime you get a safety, number 27, Michael Griffin is a heck of a football player, but they get the safety isolated on Anthony Gonzalez. But the arm strength and a great 3rd down conversion right there, Kirk.
Interesting to see that time Teddy Ginn used as a decoy to clear out Aaron Ross and vacate a wide-open zone. Well-designed play by Ohio State, using Teddy Ginn as a decoy to pick up that 1st down.
The freshman phenom, Chris Wells, from Akron, Ohio, is the tailback. Here is Chris, the number 1 rated running back coming out of high school. Beatty is called, and Roderick McElroy is getting a lot of action over there at the will linebacker for Texas. They expect the Bucs to come running at them, and he's a little bit stouter than Drew Kelson, who came to that position from safety.
And one thing you notice, Ohio State, the ability to mix the spread offense, as Kirk mentioned earlier, with the power offense. Texas, an undersized speed-first defense, the ability to line up an I-backs and run that ball right now for Ohio State.
Buckeyes drove down and missed a field goal on their opening drive, but they are coming right back. Now in trouble, has to throw it away. The Texas bench is screaming for grounding, but I believe he got it past the line of scrimmage. So there'll be no call on that. Brian Robinson, number 39, was applying pressure, and now there is a flag that does come down.
To number 10, offense. Still in the pocket, no receiver in the area. Spot foul, lost it down, third down.
And the point there, Troy Smith was inside the tackle box, still in the pocket. That's why it was called intentional grounding.
Yeah, exactly, Coach. And Bill Lamagnier, fine referee from the Big Ten. They got this right. Rick Nelson is his umpire.
Keep in mind, you can throw the football away if you are outside the tackle box. Excellent call right there by the officiating crew to correct that call and get it right.
As a result, it'll be third down and 14 with Pittman back at running back, and they move him out as an added receiver. Smith stayed with it as long as he could, and then they swarm all over him. Getting back to the original line of scrimmage, Marcus Griffin and Bobineau are there again, and the Buckeyes will be forced to punt, and it'll be one of their veterans, A.J. Trapasso, who was their punter a year ago, coming onto the field.
And Texas, the last 5 years in college football, has blocked more kicks, Brent and Kirk, than any other school in the NCAA.
Got an injured player, as you can see, down on the ground. One of their fine safeties, Marcus Griffin, and Horns and their fans are really happy to see him up and walking off the field. He's a good one. Back deep is Aaron Ross. Bob mentioned blocking punts, but they just lost their best punt blocker, Marcus Griffin, with a record 6. Stepped off the field right now, and Trapasso will punt it toward Ross. High, booming punt. And the Horns let it go into the end zone for a touchback. It'll come out on the 20-yard line, where again we'll be taking a look at the freshman quarterback. Sophomore Jamal Charles. He's number 25. This will be his first series. Folks, he's got a little serious speed. 4th in the NCAA 100 meters. And he did that while also carrying a little bit of a football load without even working hard at it. So he's the running back alongside Colt McCoy, and he gets the first handoff to start this series, and there is that speed. A first down to the 32-yard line. Marcus Freeman makes the stop. It's a 12-yard run. Well, we've talked about Colt McCoy. We've mentioned Tuscola, Texas. Where is it, folks? There it is. A population of around 700. How far down here to Austin? 250. Look at that capacity, 80,000. Bob Davey, you ever recruit anybody from Tuscola, Texas for the Aggies? Sweep play now, and there's the pitch. Another first down, and Charles is going left, right.
You talk about Tuscola, Texas, as we see Colt McCoy run the option. You know it's small in the state of Texas when they don't have a Dairy Queen in that town. You guys have all been through these small towns. If there's no Dairy Queen, that's a small Texas town. As we look at his dad, what's going through his mind right now?
He's a football coach. Colt is knocked down and on the pitch, and Kirk, they're running this beautifully with Charles, the running back.
Well, Ohio State is crashing down on Colt McCoy, and give him a lot of credit here for being prepared to make the pitch. And once he makes the pitch, there's a little bit of a difference now with Jamal Charles, Brent. As you indicated, the speed that he has to get to the outside, Ohio State right now having a tough time adjusting to that speed of Jamal Charles.
Selvin Young, the veteran, who cocks his stance a little bit, now replaces Charles. And there is the quick pass for the first down, his first completion, and it goes to Quan Cosby. He was in the Los Angeles Angels organization and came on back and played football. He was a very highly recruited high school wide receiver, though.
And a great plan by Greg Davis, again doing the things that Colt McCoy is most comfortable doing, some options, some quick passes.
There's that option look again, and McCoy's going to take a lick. Battles away with Laurinaitis, number 33, hanging on.
33 Laurinaitis on the tackle.
I really like Laurinaitis, the young linebacker. Played last year some as a freshman. Watch the speed from the inside out. Excellent job defending the option right there.
Young linebacker who had to step in for Bobby Carpenter, Brent, as you remember, in the Michigan game, and then also the Fiesta Bowl against Notre Dame. He's become a leader this year for them.
Second down and 11 as the Horns mount a drive. Daylight back on a cutback run to the 25-yard line. The veteran from Houston, senior Selvin Young, 12 more yards, and they are ripping huge holes now in that defense, and they're doing it with just a couple of huddles along the way.
A little counter, and you see big Justin Blaylock at 340 pounds pulling around. Brent, you mentioned Selvin Young has dropped 15 pounds since the Rose Bowl. He does look quicker to me, Kirk.
And all of a sudden, Texas offensive line, the quick tempo, they're starting to control the line of scrimmage.
Selvin came out and then went back in. And so Charles is back off to the sideline. And on first down, accurate again into Selvin Young's hands.
You know why he said, I got this one? He wants to make the catch. He said, hey, I got it, young guy. Actually, Selvin Young's a big brother to Jamal Charles. He probably thought, hey, little guy, let me take this one and see what I can do with it. 15 pounds off of Selvin Young. Being healthy for Selvin Young. He has waited to become the leader with being a roommate of Vince Young last year. It's his turn, and he's taking advantage of it right now.
Second down and 7. McCoy and the Horns mounting a drive. Bump incomplete. Interference is called. Swede, the intended receiver. Malcolm Jenkins bumps him. One of the big questions.
Pass interference. Defense number 5. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
And he met number 2, of course, Jenkins, as you can watch.
And here's what happens, Kirk, when you don't play the ball as a defensive back. You saw Malcolm Jenkins just try to play through Lima Swede. That was an obvious call.
I was going to say, one of the big questions about the Buckeyes, the defensive backfield. Jamal Charles, number 25. He's now the running back. The officials are going to respot the ball right now. And let's see where they finally put it down. I think they put it down at about the 7-yard line.
You know, the nerves that we talked about for the young quarterback, you can forget about him now. He is settled into this position. He's in a comfort zone, which is what Greg Davis wanted to do. And now all of a sudden, he's just worrying about executing the game plan.
And how about Texas? No huddle basically on this whole drive with the redshirt freshman quarterback.
In trouble off the blitz. Steps away from him. Fires end zone. Incomplete. He eluded the corner blitz, but there was enormous pressure, and the Buckeyes did a fine job of also defending the receiver in the corner.
Well, the first thing you see, the athletic ability right now, is Malcolm Jenkins misses Colt McCoy, and then the athletic effort by Lima Swede right here comes up with a tremendous one-hand catch.
But it doesn't count.
Ooh.
When you're out of bounds and you drop it. It's 0 for 2. Second down and goal. Snaps it off. This one's complete. short of the end zone. Fumble picked up on the run now by Washington. Donald Washington coming down the far sideline, bumped out of bounds on the Buckeye bench. And big number 33, James Laurinaitis, in the middle of it against Billy Pittman.
When you talk about things that win football games, maybe win national championships, I want you to watch this effort by James Laurinaitis right there to strip the football out. Those things win these kind of games, maybe win national championships.
And Billy Pittman there fighting to get extra yards, had the ball out far, trying to stretch it out, and a big impact there by Laurinaitis, jarred it loose before his knee touched. Big turnover and a big sequence of events here for Ohio State.
And now do you get Ted Ginn involved in some kind of reverse or something right now? Take advantage of this momentum if you're Ohio State.
Maurice Wells is the running back.
Timeout on the field. Coach's challenge.
So this is the earliest challenge that we have heard of. And Mack Brown telling us that he would take the challenge to the fourth quarter. I am almost stunned by this after having a conversation with Mack. He knows it's already been reviewed up in the booth. There was time to see it. Did you see anything, Bob? Does he have a point here?
Brent, I'm as surprised as you are because, no, he doesn't have a point. That ball is clearly stripped out, and we were sitting on the couch yesterday with Mack Brown.
Oh, absolutely.
This conversation came up. He said he is going to save his timeouts because the point is they're being reviewed anyhow in the press box.
And that we had a perfect angle. We got enough Texas fans they can sneak a peek up here and say, Mack, turn it over now. Because the coaches have told us there's no use using that challenge. You're going to need it late. And this is pretty obvious, isn't it, that Laurinaitis has got the ball out, Kirk?
The ball is out, and when you're a coach, and you might sit on the couch and talk about, I'm going to save it for the fourth quarter, but that was such a big point in this football game that he felt, maybe he talked to Pittman and said, wait, were you down?
It may be a big point right now, but I guarantee you there'll be
You'd like to have that.
I guarantee you that's how football operates. First down and 10 at midfield here. It's already been confirmed by replay, so there's nothing they can do, and they've told the Texas sideline somebody has made a mistake down. That's simply, you would not do that in that situation.
And they lose the time. They lose the timeout here.
He is unhappy. Akina, the assistant coach, and Texas loses a timeout on top of it, remember, on a coach's challenge. So it's 1 versus 2. It's Texas, it's Ohio State, and the passions are running high, folks.
I thought Coach Davey had an interesting point here. Big turn of events in the momentum of the game. If you get Teddy Ginn isolated one-on-one, do you take a shot down the field right here?
And he is isolated one-on-one on Aaron Harris.
Smith fakes, looks to go deep. Diving Gonzalez catch at the 25. What a pair of hands. It was Gonzalez against the Michigan Wolverines, who rose up and made that huge catch as Ohio State came back to win that game in Ann Arbor. A very underrated receiver, because all we do is talk about number 7.
And Anthony Gonzalez comes all the way across the football field. Again, man-to-man coverage, Kirk. Michael Griffin, he's not going to match up on Anthony Gonzalez.
That's what makes the Ohio State attack so good, is they have 3 or 4 receivers. If you man up a safety on Anthony Gonzalez for Troy Smith, that's pitch and catch.
Maurice Wells splits out of the backfield, the running back. They go empty with Troy. The offensive line gives him plenty of time. A little bit high, and it should have been caught, though. It was not a perfect throw to Wells, and that's Maurice, remember, the sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida. But I thought from the naked eye that the youngster should have grabbed him.
I think that's why Maurice is a running back and not a wide receiver. He comes down and just runs the curl route. Again, a great window to throw the football through right there, Troy Smith. You're exactly right. That football should have been caught.
Should have been caught. They went to the empty set. They flexed the tailback out. And that's one that Maurice Wells knows he's got to make that catch.
This is the second time that Ohio State has mounted a serious drive. You figure they've got to come away with something. There was movement in the offensive line. This is going to cost them a big 5 yards. And Kirk, I want to go back on a point on that first drive that failed with a missed field goal. You said that Jim Tressel does not have his security blanket this year.
Second down.
He does not have the security blanket, and one of the things that he was concerned about coming on the road was the conditioning factor in the heat. And Brent, we talked about this before the game. The one thing that's for sure is the depth on their offensive line. They're playing their entire second unit of the offensive line. And if they don't have a chance to score, not having Mike Nugent or Josh Houston is a major concern for them after missing that first field goal. But the second unit right now, in their depth, a big priority for Ohio State in the heat.
2nd and 15, and here's Smith. Got Gonzalez again. What a combo. A first down, and how about the strength of this arm on this throw? There are some scouts who are going to take note when he rifles this one to the sideline. Folks, he's a little undersized for Sunday ball, but he's a good-looking quarterback.
And Brent, you remember our conversation with Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator, yesterday? He said they are going to know on every snap where number 7 Ted Ginn is. They better right now change that plan a little bit and find out where number 11 is for the Buckeyes.
At the 12-yard line, 11 is over on the slot, the formation, and Smith is eaten up by that defensive front. That was Derek Lokey, the defensive tackle, nose man.
And see, Coach, I think that all the talk this week about Terrell Brown not being in, him being the best cover corner for Texas, when you talk to the Texas coaches, Aaron Ross is the best cover corner. What you lose in Terrell Brown is an experienced guy, a physical guy, and now you're putting in young corners and safeties who have never been in that situation. So it wasn't so much how Teddy Ginn would benefit. It was Anthony Gonzalez and some of the other Ohio State receivers. And right now, that's how Ohio State's trying to attack him.
Georgia, given the old ball coach, fits in that one downside. Smith roll in the pocket. Conley fires touchdown to the corner of the end zone down there. It was a beautiful throw for the score, and he just worked Anthony Gonzalez. And there is one of my favorite characters from Columbus, folks. Does he look like the great old coach? And Gonzalez with the touchdown puts the Buckeyes ahead.
And I'll tell you something, Troy Smith is on fire. We saw him outplay Brady Quinn in the Fiesta Bowl. Tim Crowder right here, number 80, loses contain. And how about that bullet to Anthony Gonzalez?
The patience there by Teddy Ginn, and then picking on Brandon Foster, who was in for Terrell Brown for a touchdown.
Petrie adds the extra point. So remember how this started. It was a 1st and goal for Texas going in from the 7-yard line. Laurinaitis forced the turnover. And then it was Gonzalez.
And Kirk just mentioned it. Brandon Foster locked up one-on-one with Anthony Gonzalez. The Buckeyes take advantage of it.
And because of their ability to mix it up, every time Troy Smith has a ball fake, the linebackers freeze. He had to get outside of the pocket by a lot of time. Anthony Gonzalez made 2 or 3 moves on Foster to finally have a chance to make the catch and to make that catch for the touchdown. But picking on the young, inexperienced secondary.
I think the fees are extremely.
Recommend the article on Ted Ginn Sr. in the issue ESPN, the magazine. I wish Ted Ginn was on the cover instead of Terrell Owens, but that's a different story. It's a wonderful, wonderful story about an inner-city school and what can be done for youngsters like Troy Smith, who came from nowhere, and Ted Ginn Sr. basically adopted him and moved him in with the family. Now, Sr. had a game. There he is, folks. There is a guy who means so much. He started as a security guard at that high school I read back in Glenville, and I think now he's got 21 youngsters on scholarship tonight. And you know, congratulations to him and men all across this country who work with youngsters. And there is Ted Ginn Jr. 2nd down and 10 now. Here's Smith. High, incomplete. They went for Ginn that time. Aaron Ross with the coverage.
Aaron Ross is the best cover corner on Texas. He a lot of times is on an island against Teddy Ginn. Pretty good coverage, but if you notice, you can see Michael Griffin cheating just a bit to help out Aaron Ross in case Teddy Ginn moves to the middle of the field, Coach. And having that safety is a nice security blanket for the corner, Ross.
It's like having an eraser back there. It eliminates any mistakes a corner may make.
3rd and 10. Smith tries to pull out in trouble. So elusive. Incomplete. No one really had a chance to catch it, but Ginn had cut over in that direction. And Smith learning to fight another day.
Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator from Texas, making some adjustments, bringing pressure from a different ways. And I think that's the adjustment that Gene Chizik, again, the defensive coordinator, trying to make here. He is a coach that has won 29 straight games as a defensive coordinator. What's interesting is he went Auburn undefeated. And also is, of course, last year at Texas, won a national championship, one of the best in the business.
He was sitting down. One of the rare moments you see him sit down, and you saw him stand up in that coach's booth towards the end. Trapasso hangs a beautiful punt. Aaron Ross back deep, fields it at the 17-yard line. And he is down. We'll take a break. 12-13 to go. Number 1, Ohio State. Their first visit ever to Austin, Texas, and they lead it by 7. And now it's time for our Aflac trivia question. Let's see what the fellas came up with. What was the first regular season number 1 versus number 2 matchup? Teams ranked in the top 2 now in both polls. Remember the AP poll, that goes back into the late 30s. And then the coaches poll came along. So what was the first number 1 versus number 2 matchup? 2nd down and 10. Corners soften up. McCoy throws in underneath him, but well short of the first down here, Kirk. 3rd down and 3. Incomplete.
It's amazing here early in this game for Ohio State, rotating numerous players in and out. Jim Tressel told me this week that his goal in the first half was to play 57 guys. 57 players, and we've seen the offensive line, the entire group rotating. That time, the entire second unit, the defense was lined up. They want to try to survive the first half by rotating players in and then go back to the starters in the second half. They're really concerned about the heat and humidity down in Austin.
Greg Johnson, left-footed punter in, and missed again, is back there waiting again. Driving it. And here comes Ginn. Swallowed at the 30-yard line. So Ohio State leads Texas by 7-0 here. And the Buckeye Band is with us. It's Saturday Night Football on ABC. So on this night, the Stars have come out for number 1 versus number 2, with number 1 leading it by 7. And there is LeBron James, who, if he'd gone to college, told a lot of folks it would have been Ohio State. He's just one of many sports and movie stars who are with us here tonight. Troy Smith trying to air it out, going deep, and he overthrew Mr. Ginn. And that's hard to do, folks.
We just talked about how Texas is trying to use a safety in the middle. That time, they were not able to get Michael Griffin to the middle. They're blitzing more and more on Troy Smith to try to get the pressure to slow down his momentum. That time, he had time to throw. He had a one-on-one matchup that he wanted on the outside. Aaron Ross by himself, isolated against Teddy Ginn. And if he puts a little bit more air on that football, that's a touchdown and a big play for the Bucs.
2nd and 10. Getting back with the power running game in Pittman. So our Aflac trivia question regarding number 1 versus number 2. Both polls. When was the last time? Remember now, regular season, not a bowl game. When was the first one of the 1 versus 2s? There it is right there. October 12th, 1963. Darrell Royal won that one in the regular season, went on and won one in a bowl game against Navy, and captured a national championship. Third down and 6.
Again, you have Gonzalez on the safety in the slot.
Throwing in underneath the Rory Nickel, the first catch of the night by the tight end, and Robert Joseph, a backup safety, makes the stop.
Good job here the last 2 series by Texas. Again, Gene Chizik bringing a lot more pressure and mixing up the looks, just trying to get Troy Smith off balance a little bit and get his receivers and Troy to the point where they don't have quite the rhythm that they had there in the first quarter.
The Paso punting, and Ross is back deep. Boy, he's got a big leg, doesn't he? At the 22-yard line. Got to wonder about the Horns struggling here with Colt McCoy. They completed a pass to Swede, short of the first down marker. And tonight's area coverage brought to you by Outback Steakhouse as you look down on our sold-out scene here. Texas Memorial Stadium. They're going to enlarge it even more. That bottom part there, they're going to tear it all out at the end of this season, close it in, have some more big old luxury boxes for these Texans who love this football team down here.
And how about that big Godzillatron, that giant scoreboard we see right there in that end zone?
Biggest in the world.
But I tell you what, I've been in this state enough. A&M next year, Texas A&M, will build one 2 square feet bigger.
They better worry about beating the Horns one of these.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
Boy.
That's getting a little long down there. That Charles in there at the running back. Now, let me ask you this. What was your record as a defensive coordinator against the Horns?
Now, I know you know what it is. So I'm going to let you say it, because I don't want to say it now.
9-1, I believe.
Well, I don't want to correct you, but it actually was 10-1.
Really? I didn't give you credit for the 10th one, huh?
I was wondering when you were going to get to that.
That's when the Aggies used to dominate.
You knew that was coming,
series,
Coach.
Right?
I knew it was coming. I thought you'd get it on earlier.
I mean, that record. You want me to open the night with a record?
Exactly.
They're down now, and Derek Lokey in for Selvin Young. There's the defensive tackle for the first time as the road grader, and they run off his block and get the first down. Folks, you have got to see number 96. He's a starting there. He's coming back off the field. He's a road grader in these short yardage situations. He was a high school fullback, and he just loves it. He said one day to Coach Brown, you got to just hand me the ball. And he says, you better pick up a fumble if you want the football.
It's their version of the fridge. He didn't pick up a big block there, but Texas did pick up a first down. And now you start to wonder, can they get Selvin Young and Jamal Charles back involved in the offense and get him going here?
Yeah, I want to see if Colt McCoy can throw the ball down the field. It doesn't seem like he's thrown a ball more than 5 yards all night.
There's a youngin on the sideline who can throw it down the field. Jevin Sneed is his name. This time he goes down and complete. And he's saying, keep young Mr. Sneed over there on the sideline as he gets it to Selvin.
Well, that's what Bob Davie just called for, and that time they protected off of the play action. But what I like to see is the ball is thrown up in the air, and it's a great job of adjusting back to the football by Selvin Young. The ball is underthrown, but Selvin Young, as a running back, running a wheel route right down the sideline, recognized the ball was underthrown, came back against Ohio State's top cover corner, Malcolm Jenkins, and made a nice play.
Charles in after the 29-yard gain. Remember, the Horns at one time in this game had a 1st and goal from the 7 and turned it over. Spinning, battling his way across the 35-yard line.
Well, the timing of the pass downfield was perfect to try to just mix it up and to slow down the pressure from Ohio State's defense. Ohio State has an aggressive defense. Their whole plan tonight was to try to get into the head of Colt McCoy, making his first start in this big a game. They wanted to try to confuse him, see if they could rattle him with a variety of looks. And anytime he can get a big completion like that to slow them down, that's going to help them run the football again.
Second down, keeping it on the ground. Across the 30-yard line, but short of the first down. Stopped by Laurinaitis, who's had a big game defensively for the Buckeyes. Number 33 forced the turnover inside the 5-yard line. If you just joined us, Texas threatening. It was first and goal, then a pass interference call against Ohio State. Laurinaitis punched it out, and Donald Washington returned it down the sideline.
And if Vince Young was at quarterback, I would say quarterback draw right now, but that's not Vince Young.
Instead, it is Selvin Young who reaches out. And let's check in with Lisa.
Well, Brent, there's some folks here tonight who think that Colt McCoy is a hero no matter what he does here tonight. The McCoys were at their lakefront home in Graham, Texas on Memorial Day when they heard screams across the lake. And it was pitch black outside. Still, Colt and his dad hopped into the water and swam 300 yards to the other side. That's where they found Patina Harrington and her husband, Ken, who was having a seizure. Now, another neighbor had already called 911, so Colt ran a quarter of a mile up the hill to let paramedics know where to go. The Harringtons are here tonight. Ken is doing just fine. Patina says that Colt McCoy saved her husband's life. And I asked him about it, and he said, I didn't do anything that anyone else wouldn't have done. Brent?
Yeah, it's a real American hero story, isn't it, Lisa? Wonderful, wonderful story. Hands the ball off. And, so nice to see Ken over there and wearing the quarterback's number. And I believe he went to school right here at Texas. And yeah, he's the first to jump off Vince Young's bandwagon. He says Colt McCoy is his all-time favorite Texas quarterback, and understandably so. Nice to see you here tonight, sir. Second down and 11.
You look in that helmet at Colt McCoy. He looks like he's about 12 or 13 years old, doesn't he?
There's Pops over on the sideline. Hit on the release. Got it off in time, complete for a big-time throw under duress. Pulled in by Lima Swede.
Great concentration by the quarterback there, because Colt McCoy, I don't know if he realized that Curtis Terry was coming from his blind side, but he hurried just enough to get the ball off, and he threw it to a position where Lima Swede had a great body position on the corner. Great throw, and a great job of just blocking out that pass rush coming towards him.
And no one liked that throw any more than the Harringtons. First down and 10. Coming back with the young running back, and jumped in the middle in there. Jamal Charles was hit by David Patterson, one of the fine defensive tackles. Those two defensive tackles, depending on how they do this year, Quinn Pittock and David Patterson, they'll play Sunday football. But the pros are looking to see if they, so they like to say, empty their bucket on every play, those two.
And not many people would have thought Ohio State, with 9 new starters on defense, would be pitching a shutout right now with 3 minutes left in his first half.
There's Laurinaitis. He is keyed it. Number 33. Selvin is back as running back off to the quarterback's right. Bounces. Out of bounds. He crossed the 10-yard line. And remember, the last time that the Horns marched into the red zone, Kirk, this happened.
Well, they had an opportunity early in this football game, and it was Billy Pittman making an effort, trying to extend the ball to try to pick up a first down, and James Laurinaitis jarred the ball loose with a big hit. Donald Washington picked it up and went the other way, kind of a turning point in this game. Let's see this time if Texas can capitalize now on third down, getting inside the 10-yard line.
3rd and 6 for the Horns.
And at some point, Lima Swede at 6'5", up here at the top of the screen, has to enter into the mix.
Hit again on the release. Incomplete. And McCoy had penalty flag thrown on this hit. It's back by the quarterback against Ohio State. Automatic first down.
Jay Richardson on a little stunt coming into the inside, slips through. I think it might have been helmet to helmet that time with Jay Richardson hitting Colt McCoy. Wow. Definitely was not a late hit. It had to be helmet to helmet, if anything.
I don't see that. I didn't see any helmet to helmet. I didn't see him leading with the helmet or using the helmet as a weapon.
It definitely was not a late hit, roughing the quarterback.
And as you know, these are not reviewable, but let's take a close look at this again.
Well, that's
I don't see how you can call that.
That is a questionable call.
I mean, at some point he has full pads on, right? It is contact on the quarterback.
And you're a defensive coach, and you're right, but you made a good point. You have to lower your head and make contact with an opposing player's head to be able to have that called against you.
First and goal.
But the courage by this kid, amazing.
Charles is his running back. 25, short of the end zone.
Imagine being Colt McCoy. We talked about him growing up in this state, but think about the shoes that he's trying to fill. Vince Young, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play, not only for Texas, maybe in college football, and this is his first big test. And the #2 team, defending national champions, playing the #1 team in the country.
Greg Davis told us that when they came out of the spring, these two quarterbacks, Jevin Snead and he, were dead even. When they came back in the fall, every coach knew it was McCoy's job. That's how familiar he was with the offense. Being a coach's son helped him tremendously understand the offense. Rolls pocket right, backside throws, got it, touchdown Texas. Colt McCoy hits Billy Pittman, and they're an extra point away from a tie. A 13-play drive. Redshirt freshman Colt McCoy. And remember the licks he took during this drive.
Boy, a 13-play drive here. Very, very important for Texas before we get to halftime to get some momentum created. And how about Billy Pittman? Made the fumble at the other end of the field, comes back and has a touchdown opportunity for the Longhorns.
And it goes back to one thing as Johnson ties it with the extra point. Let us not forget that personal foul penalty was it helmet to helmet. Is that why the referee called it and gave them a first down, and the Horns take advantage of it? Haycock, the fine co-defensive coordinator, working his troops over there on the sideline after they came off the field, as Colt McCoy and the Horns drive in to tie this just inside of 2 minutes. Ted Ginn in back deep. They kick it away from him. Picked up by Gonzalez, and he is down short of the 35-yard line with 1:45 left on it. You know, we go back to that penalty and we think about it. It is an automatic penalty on helmet to helmet. Now, I want you two to watch this carefully and tell me if it's helmet to helmet.
15-yard return.
I say yes.
I think it's helmet to helmet by the technicality of the rule. But if I'm coaching right now, Jay Richardson, I don't know what else I tell him to do as a defensive coach.
How would you coach that? How would you coach him to do anything differently there?
I wouldn't.
Okay. We know where you stand.
First down and 10 for Troy Smith. Under pressure, bounces away beautifully. And steps out of bounds at the 37-yard line.
The bottom line is Texas had the opportunity after they caught the break, and they capitalized. Colt McCoy coming of age right in front of our eyes. 4 for 4 on that 13-play drive, giving Texas a very, very important touchdown here to get the crowd back into the game and to get his confidence up, feeling as if Texas could do some things on offense with him throwing the football.
Very much in charge. Troy Smith with the wristband. Pittman goes out of the backfield. Steps up against the pressure, fires to the middle and to the 40-yard line. And it's Brian Robisky, his second catch of the night in Young. And there's a penalty flag, so hang on now. So another big blow against the Buckeyes.
If I'm Gene Chizik and I'm trying to stop Jim Tressel.
Holding, 75 offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
That's Alex Boone.
They're going to have to make some adjustments at halftime because it's become very obvious Ohio State trying to attack. Not necessarily with Teddy Ginn against Aaron Ross. They're still taking their shots there. But it's not only Anthony Gonzalez. It's Brian Hartline. It's Brian Rubisky. They're going to the second, third, and fourth receivers with matchups to their advantage against safeties and against the younger corners.
Here is the statistic of the first half, ladies and gentlemen. 5 penalties against the Buckeyes, none against the Longhorns. And you can look at that both ways now. Second down and 17. Ray Small, the freshman.
Bust right here.
Complete. Gonzalez to the 40. And that is about 4 yards short of the first down.
Ohio State with all 3 timeouts remaining. Little surprised they don't use a timeout right now and just settle down on a key 3rd and 4.
Texas is confused. That time a complete bust in their coverage to give them a shot here at 3rd down.
And Ginn gives them a first down, working against Ross.
Very, very dangerous to leave a corner, even as talented as Aaron Ross, by himself when the Ohio State offense is in hurry-up, because if Teddy Ginn were able to slip just one tackle, he's going 50 yards for a touchdown.
Timeout has been called. So the Buckeyes use a timeout. So we look at this game and how it has unfolded, and a very low-scoring first half. We've got 28 seconds remaining, a touchdown apiece. The Horns were turned away, Kirk and Bob, early by that fumble when Laurinaitis punched it out. But what's your feeling here about what we've seen?
Well, I think what happens here for Ohio State is very, very important for both sides. I thought Texas gained some momentum by finally being able to sustain a drive and put it into the end zone to tie the game. It got the stadium alive. It got the crowd more involved. And I think it created some confidence here for Texas that they needed before they got to halftime. But they've got to stop Ohio State here.
Yeah, and I look at it, it's a 7-7 game, but there's been a lot more plays, a lot more entertaining than what you think a 7-7 football game would give you. But I'll tell you what, guys, we got a big-time game here tonight now.
Oh, really?
I like it. I like it.
His nickname is Scoop.
Oh, yeah.
Where did you stay this?
Well, you said,
Where'd I stay?
Yeah, where'd you stay, Kirk? Were you? Huh? Somebody said you were 4 seasons.
I stumbled in there. There was a mistake with the travel department, and I stumbled over there.
I want that mistake. First down and 10 now. Oh, my rascals. All right, here's Troy Smith. Firing, got it open. Gonzalez grabs another one across the 30-yard line. Great grab by number 11. And the Buckeyes hurrying up. 22 seconds on that 23-yard gain.
Ohio State once again. Nice little decoy disguising by Anthony Gonzalez. Ohio State feels that Teddy Ginn gets all the attention, but their best, most complete receiver is Anthony Gonzalez. He found a nice seam in the zone.
But I've got to ask you, what coverage was that? I mean, Texas has had some gaping holes in that secondary.
I think they're confused. These last 3 or 4 plays, there's been a lot of confusion. You can see the communication with Texas in their defensive backfield where they're trying to get on the same page. And Ohio State mixing up formations, mixing up personnel. And I think that's, this time, confusing this defense. But Anthony Gonzalez has been all over the field, and he's been able to take advantage of the youth in the Texas secondary. Terrell Brown, of course, is out of this game, and it's been up to Brandon Foster and Ryan Palmer, and even the safeties here. They've not been able to stay up with number 11.
And I don't think there's any question Troy Smith's go-to receiver is number 11, Anthony Gonzalez. That is his safety net right there.
It was last year, Santonio Holmes. Teddy Ginn gets a lot of the attention because of his speed, and he's a great receiver. But it's a nice compliment to have Anthony Gonzalez on the other side.
So here we go now, 22 seconds. Buckeyes have 1 timeout remaining. Assistant coach Gene Chiswick's defense, good set. From the 29-yard line. Throwing deep, Ginn runs it in, touchdown, Ted Ginn. And he beat Ross.
Brett, when we came over to the walkthrough, Coach, myself and you, and We had a chance with Lisa to talk to the Ohio State players. One of the things that Troy Smith told me was he has a lot more freedom at the line of scrimmage to make a check. And when he sees Teddy Ginn in this game one-on-one, he has the flexibility to turn it loose. And he made a check there at the line of scrimmage because he saw Teddy one-on-one against Aaron Ross and went right by him for the touchdown. Perfect throw by Troy Smith.
And Petrie nails the extra point.
The thing you're going to notice right here, Ohio State puts 3 receivers into the boundary. They leave Ted Ginn to the wide side of the field. It clearly defined the coverage for Troy Smith and just straight man-to-man bump and run. And the mistake right there that the corner Aaron Ross made, Kirk, he looked back to the ball with Teddy Ginn out ahead of him.
And that's a no-no. And the speed. We keep bragging about Anthony Gonzalez. We keep bragging about how good a player he is on the other side of Teddy Ginn. It's because Teddy Ginn is so explosive that it takes the attention away from Anthony Gonzalez. But we talk about his go-to guy. At the end of the day, it's the speed and the backyard ball between Troy Smith and Teddy Ginn.
You know, Kirk, I want to go back to something that Bob Davis said earlier, that Troy Smith is a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate, and he can really step up here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this stage builds that foundation even stronger, doesn't it? I was wondering when you're going to mention that H word because I see the same thing you do. You had him in the Fiesta Bowl against Brady Quinn.
And the winner of that game became the front runner coming into this year. Those are the top 2 candidates for the Heisman. But this stage.
Hold on now. Hold on.
Adrian Peterson?
Adrian.
With that offense, without a passing game?
Well, you can't eliminate the great running back.
I love him. He might be the most talented player in college football. But I don't know if he's going to get enough yardage.
Whoa, now, come on now.
I don't think he's going to get enough yardage this year.
Where is Lee Corso when I need him? That's a long kickoff.
You talk about a swing of momentum. Texas looked like they had a chance to tie it, come up with a stop, get to halftime, 7-7. And Ohio State comes right back, puts 6 points on the board, and now they're going to hit the showers with the 7-point lead and the momentum.
First and 10, Texas on the point.
You talk about Troy Smith. A lot of people ask, why do coaches give guys second chances? I think this is why. There's no question Jim Tressel has given him 2 or 3 opportunities. He had some off-field problems early in his career. This guy's already graduated from Ohio State. He's a great team leader. That's why you give guys second chances in your football program.
End of the first half. Ohio State with that late touchdown pass to Ted Ginn from his dear friend Troy Smith. Puts him up. And Ginn took it to the house. Let's go to Lisa.
Thanks, Brent. Coach, what went right on that last drive? They thought they were going into halftime tied up. What went right on that last drive for you?
You know, our kids practice a lot, those 2-minute drills, and Troy made a lot of plays. Pass protection was good, and, you know, we got single coverage for Teddy. And whenever we get single coverage for Teddy, we have a good chance.
That penalty play that kept their touchdown drive alive, the official explained it to you. What did he tell you?
He said he's protecting the quarterback, which I understand.
Good luck the second half.
Night football on ABC, and number 1 Ohio State, striking with less than 30 seconds to go in the first half, leads number 2 Texas by a touchdown. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger with Kirk Herbstreit, Bob Davie, and Kirk, that last touchdown pass, there were some interesting things.
Well, what I'm seeing right now are 2 even football teams competing. The only difference is Troy Smith. Troy Smith is 13-19 in the first half for 219 yards. Biggest play right before the half. Recognized one-on-one coverage with Teddy Ginn, and he makes the audible at the line of scrimmage with his hand. The gesture with the hand indicates to Teddy Ginn that it's one-on-one. And what I liked is how he looked to safety Griffin off and then made the throw to the outside right where Teddy Ginn can make the catch.
And how about the maturation of Teddy Ginn as a receiver? Watch this escape move right there as he beats the bump and run coverage by Aaron Ross.
Last week, Troy Smith threw for 297 yards and 3 touchdowns. The first half tonight, 219 yards and 2 more touchdowns. Texas will get the ball to start against Smith and the Buckeyes. Selvin Young and Quan Cosby are back deep. Fielded on the bounce by Selvin. Down at the 20-yard line. Our Pack Life first half statistics look like this. And Bob, as you look at this, what jumps out off that page to you.
What jumps out at me is the problems Texas has in the secondary trying to defend the pass of Ohio State.
What doesn't show up in the stats is the poise of Troy Smith. We saw in this matchup a year ago Vince Young take his team into Columbus and play with such great poise. And now, a year later, we're seeing in the first half very similar attitude from the Ohio State quarterback.
From behind Colt McCoy, he is quarterback the entire game. Number 12, his second start. Hands it off to the running back, Charles. And let's check in with Lisa. What did Coach Mack Brown have to say?
Well, Brent, Mack Brown told me that he told his kids at halftime to keep your confidence. He said, look, guys, we came from behind last year at the Horseshoe. We came from behind at the Rose Bowl. You just got to stay in this and try to tie the game up in the first 5 minutes of the second half. I also asked him when he told us yesterday that he would not challenge anything until the fourth quarter, why he challenged that fumble in the first quarter. And he said, one of my kids said it was a bad call. It didn't come up on the replay. I wanted to keep my challenge, but it was such a critical time in the game that I thought I had to use it. It was a mistake.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Handoff on the play, and again, first down. Strong run by Charles to the 31-yard line.
You know, as I watch this football game, we really haven't seen Jamal Charles, number 25, explode yet. But keep in mind, he is a 10-100 meters. I'm going to make a strong statement. I think the two fastest football players in the country on the field tonight with Ted Ginn and Jamal Charles.
If they're not too tired, can we maybe talk them into 100 yards after the ball game tonight? That would be, this whole stadium would stay and watch that.
First and 10. Picked off. Laurinaitis, who's had a monster night for the Buckeyes, with the interception, and they're within striking distance again.
First, you're going to get a chance to see what Colt McCoy sees right here from behind the quarterback. But how about James Laurinaitis? A game like this of this magnitude, Kirk, with this stage, this kind of games change young guys' lives. This guy tonight is the big hit on the goal line early in the game caused fumble, and now the big interception.
And the thing, guys, it's the first mistake we've seen from the Texas quarterback, the young quarterback making his first start in a big game, and Laurinaitis has been all over the field. Colt McCoy didn't even see number 30.
First and 10. Handoff to Pittman. Powers into the middle of that burnt orange defense, and Derek Lokey, the nose man from Denton, Texas, and there he is talking to Greg Davis upstairs, running down the mistake that was made on the field.
And I think this is key right now. How does Colt McCoy bounce back? Last week in his first college game against North Texas, it was easy. We look at Greg Davis, the offensive coordinator. How resilient is Colt McCoy?
We've talked about that all day. The adversity finally hitting him. How does he respond? That's exactly right. And with all the pressure of Texas trying to come back on his shoulders.
Second and 8. Backside, down goes Smith, but strong enough to hold on to the football. Hit from behind by Robinson.
And Brian Robinson, who himself dropped 15 pounds as the defensive end, you're going to see him coming from the backside. He beat Alex Boone, the 325-pound offensive tackle. But Kirk, it's speed over size.
Speed and effort. What an amazing job by Robinson to come from the backside, to come down and not give up on the play to bring down Troy Smith.
3rd and 15. They're going to run for it with Pittman. Angling and short of the first down as Michael Griffin, one of the twins, alongside Marcus as the safety. When they played in high school, Michael, whom you're looking at, he was the quarterback.
And how about the call on 3rd and long? Jim Tressel comes with the little counter play. Pittman breaks it outside. There's no one out there for the offensive guard, Downing, to block. Sets up a makeable field goal right now for the Buckeyes.
Aaron Petrie missed one on their first drive from 28 yards. This is 31. Different angle. Got this one. 1 of 2. And that one from the left hash. Jim Tressel to the Buckeyes. Add 3. Go up by 10 now. 17-7. Take advantage of the interception. Strong performance by Notre Dame. The vote following this game in the 2 polls is going to be interesting. If this stays, you would expect Texas to drop a couple of spots. But does USC move to 2, or does Notre Dame jump back up? The vote this week going to be very interesting. And the Buckeyes go to work on the clock, which brings up something that Mack Brown dislikes intently. And that is the clock starts after a change of possession. So down by 2 scores now with 11:50 to go. You know, Bob Davie, you have been there, the pressure that this puts on your offense when you're trying to play catch-up.
And particularly because, Brent, Ohio State has the ability to play with a fullback in the game, line up and run the ball. Here they're going back to their normal one-back spread. But Ohio State can pound it a little bit. They're not just a conventional spread offense.
But with Troy Smith, in his experience, would not be surprised to see them continue to be aggressive, even as the clock dwindles down.
2nd and 9. Putting it into Ginn's hands. Can Ginn get the first down? He does. First down for the Buckeyes, and a penalty flag is thrown further downfield. The 1 point that we must make here tonight: the Longhorns have missed Terrell Brown. The organization's done a great job.
Number 31 on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Tacked on the end of the run. The play resulted.
Ross has had his hands full with Ted Ginn here tonight.
Well, Ross has been isolated a lot tonight on number 7 for Ohio State. They call the incidental face mask. They're going to add 5 yards on against Texas, but you have to go back to the play call. 2nd and long. You're thinking that they may want to try to run some clock. It just shows you how much confidence they have in Troy Smith making throws and making good decisions, that they can still be aggressive and now maybe get back to running the football.
The pros believe that Terrell Brown is the best corner here at Texas, even though he doesn't have blinding speed and he's missing tonight, suspended. They come back to Gonzalez over there, and Smith is moving the ball through the air.
And what a senior quarterback, a guy that's been through all that Troy Smith does for you. The confidence of Jim Tressel to throw this football here.
A lot of confidence. We've seen it now 2 plays in a row. But again, it's going back to Brent's point. It's Brandon Foster, the young corner, who steps in for Terrell Brown. We've seen it all night, whether it's been Brandon Foster, Ryan Palmer, the Griffin brothers isolated. Ohio State's taken advantage of matchups away from Aaron Ross to try to exploit this Texas defense without Terrell Brown.
And we talk a lot about Vince Young, but let's not forget Vince. Let's not forget he had help defensively. Huff is with the Raiders. Griffin's with the Vikings. And here, Pittman is just shredding that Horn defense for another 1st and 10. So there are so many key players missing from this Longhorn team.
Very, very impressive drive here by Ohio State. Blocking downfield by the receivers. Tough, hard running by Antonio Pittman. But it's, again, the way they're able to mix up the play calling here late in the football game when you're expecting them to be conservative, they continue to attack. And, again, it's the confidence that they have in the quarterback, Troy Smith.
And T.J. Downing, the offensive guard, a great block, Kirk, on that play.
Ball start, 75 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Brent, how impressive this is. When you put it in perspective, Mack Brown 44-3 at home in this stadium. He lost 2 games in 1999. His 2nd year, 44-3 in Austin.
It's like he took a shot tonight. Yes. He's working hard tonight.
This is a real struggle. You know, he had knee replacement on that left knee, and watching him in practice, he had to use a golf cart. He's had a little bit of hard time moving around, and I'm sure it's difficult standing down there on the sideline, especially the way they're playing. There's the penalty flag thrown by the umpire, and you all know what that means on this play. 9:33, the Buckeyes working on that clock.
Penalty obviously moves Ohio State back, 2nd penalty in a row, but as we're watching this game for 4 quarters, we continue to talk about Terrell Brown. It's not just physically losing Terrell Brown. It's miscommunication in that secondary. Every time they're dropping back to throw, they're open receivers downfield.
Holding, offense, number 50, 10 yards, previous spot, still first down.
And that's Doug Dadish, the senior center from Warren, Ohio. Earlier it was the sophomore tackle, Alex Boone, and moved over to that left tackle spot. Dadish moved off of it to center. And so Boone has not graded out as an A tonight, but he has a tremendous upside. He was at one of the very top offensive linemen in that class that was recruited. Both of these schools recruit so many outstanding football players. First and 25. The toss to Pittman. Trying to stay in bounds. The clock continues to run. There comes the penalty flag and a face mask. Roderick McElroy grabbing the face mask. Number 38. You can see him shaking his head, knowing what happened.
Well, if it's a personal foul, they're going to be kicking themselves after Ohio State had 2 miscues with penalties of their own.
Personal foul, face mask, number 38 on the defense. 15 yards, tacked on the end of the run. Automatic, first down.
McElroy gets out there, but he holds on to that face mask of Pittman and pulls. Anytime you pull and there's an official there, it's not only a face mask, but it's 15 yards in the first down.
And the freshman Roderick McElroy, Kirk, getting the start tonight because the junior Drew Kelson couldn't go, but that is a huge personal foul.
Ohio State was almost back to the point where they were probably ready to settle maybe for a field goal. But now the first down.
In the hands of Pittman, plowing straight ahead. Last year, of course, let me check that. That was Chris Wells, the fine freshman running back. There he is right there. So let me correct myself. Chris, the freshman from Akron, Ohio. And didn't the Akron team today do itself proud against North Carolina State? Now we see that Pittman has come on to the field and replaced him.
Imagine in Akron, in a neighborhood where you have in the same area Chris Wells, Antonio Pittman, and Tyrell Sutton all playing in the same Pee Wee League. There's some talent growing up in Akron, Ohio.
Indeed, Sutton, a great runner at Northwestern. Second down and 8. Deflected, incomplete. And that was Brian Robison doing what he does best. One of the more athletic defensive linemen in the country, jumping up and knocking it down. And Jim Tressel now, the 3rd and 8, checking that playbook. And he usually is lethal in a situation like this. He knows how to use a clock. He's very conservative. And as Kirk pointed out, he's got the added advantage of a veteran quarterback. He can put up high percentage passes in this situation. Let's see what Tressel and Troy Smith come up with here. They're going to throw for it. First down, Buckeyes inside the 10-yard line. And number 80, Brian Robisky, the sophomore, Cleveland, makes the play in the first down.
And you have to love that Brian Robisky, Kirk, comes back after dropping the ball on the critical 3rd down earlier. And how about the confidence to throw the ball again in that situation?
Troy Smith, the confidence, they're aggressive again, but going back, I hate to continue to pound on this, but Brandon Foster drifting down as he's in coverage on a big 3rd down play. Brandon Foster just lost his footing, and it allowed Robisky to pick up a first down.
Reaching a handoff and battling for the goal line. Antonio Pittman, the ball carrier. It'll be 2nd down and goal. And you would think the way things have gone here tonight, if Tressel and the Buckeyes can score 7 here, it would be game, set, and match. Still got 7 minutes to go. Lots of things can happen. But the Texas offense has not been explosive here tonight.
9 plays, 70 yards, over 5 minutes off the clock, mixing the run with the throw. It's the advantage in college football of having a quarterback that can make good decisions and give you that trust to call any play you want.
Deontay Johnson, the fullback, trying to drop the hammer for the end zone. They want the signal. Nothing yet.
Okay.
Touchdown, Antonio Pittman. And the Buckeye Nation has this one in hand now. It would take a Texas miracle to pull this out.
Boy, great effort here, Brent. Inside here, just a good push by the offensive line, some penetration by Killebrew, but hard running that time, and he gets the push, and Pittman shows he has the toughness when he gets down to the goal line to get it ball into the end zone.
Now, this is one that they should review to take a look to make sure that the ball broke the plane as the officials come in. And remember, Mack Brown cannot challenge it. He'd already used his challenge. Petrie tacks on the extra point. 24-7. So we go back to the point we made earlier in this game. You want to take that challenge to the fourth quarter. Even if you were going to lose it, make sure you got it just in case. Troy Smith and the Buckeyes have this one well under control. 24-7. Dominated. You go back to the key play in this game, and it well could be Laurinaitis forcing a fumble very early in the game when it looked like the Longhorns were going to strike. And Eddie George, the last of the Heisman Trophy winners, enjoying this one down on the sideline.
Having a little fun with the Texas fans.
Why not?
And one thing all those NFL players say, and the Texas players were talking about this yesterday, all those guys in NFL call back and say, look, the best time you're ever going to have is when you're in college.
Exactly.
No doubt about it.
Justin Blaylock, the right tackle who we're going to see coming out here. He certainly talked to Roy Williams, he told us. And that's one of the reasons why he came back. 24-7. 6:27 to go. Tonight's aerial coverage has been brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. Mack Brown told us a little anecdote about the President of the United States, President Bush. He's a big, big Texas fan, and he likes to go to bed early at night, and the Rose Bowl was still unfolding. He tried to go off at about 7 minutes to go, and he got up and he had to watch the rest of the game. And I dare say tonight in the White House, he's tucking himself in, folks. 24-7 now with 6 minutes to go.
You know, what concerns you if you're a Texas fan is not only losing this football game, but look at the production that they've had in the past under Mack Brown. And a lot of that had to do with the way they were able to get it done with Vince Young and being very versatile. But the thing that I've seen tonight, playing at home, they didn't show as much fire and intensity as they played with last year. Now, we're going to say that's all because of Vince Young? I don't know.
They were shut out by Oklahoma. It was not last year, but the year before. In 2004, I believe it was 12-0 in the Red River shootout. And don't anybody dare give up on the Longhorns. Let me just say this right now. There's some football players down there. They had a cornerback suspended. They got another little youngster over there at quarterback that's pretty good. They got some talented football players here. They ran up against a buzzsaw tonight that's been waiting for a year to hammer back for that tough loss up in Columbus. These Buckeyes are going to be challenging for a national championship, and Longhorns just had their hands full. They were just outmatched here tonight. That's all. You'd lose one and you'd go on to the next one.
And I think we really have to talk about this Ohio State defense. I know, Kirk, you live in Columbus, obviously. They were uptight coming down here because this young defense last week gave up a lot of yards to Northern Illinois, but they have played outstanding. And that guy right there, number 33, go back to that play early in the game. That was the game-changing play. Laurinaitis causing that fumble.
The other thing coming into this game is the Ohio State coaches felt that they were kind of assuming things, how this team would react, but they really didn't know because they've never been in this kind of situation. All of a sudden, after the game, players start to surface, leadership starts to surface, and the man that you just mentioned, James Laurinaitis, all of a sudden starts to become one of the anchors for the Ohio State defense.
Almost blocked. I mean, they almost picked that one. And they're going to have great field position as a result. One of the great streaks in college football is coming to an end, and it's not Mac Brown's winning streak, folks. We'll talk about Gene Chizik. 29 straight wins as a defensive coordinator when we come back.
Okay, people, let's do this.
They start to go to work on the clock here with the youngster Chris Wells. And Kirk, you've watched him back in the scrimmage, back in Columbus. Tell us a little bit about him.
Future star, superstar. He came in a little bit early, had a chance to go through spring ball. Talking to him, he said, you know, my head was spinning. There was so much going on with learning new terminology, adjusting to the speed of the game. He said, I just wasn't ready. And he said, right in the middle of two-a-days, the light went on. I started to emerge and feel more comfortable, kind of like I did in high school. And now the tandem of Antonio Pittman and Chris Wells gives Jim Tressel the best tailbacks he's had since he's been at Ohio State.
Here he comes, stopped by the Gene Chizik coached defense. And folks, if you're not aware, there he is. 29 consecutive games. He was the defensive coordinator in the unbeaten season at Auburn. Came in here last year, and he is a future head coach waiting to happen. Anyone at the end of this season interested in a coach should, and he's not, trust me, he didn't ask me to say this. He's one of the most impressive assistants you'd ever want to be around. And he is the full package for some organization. And who knows, maybe they'll keep him right here in Austin. But he is a wonderful, wonderful coach. And Bob Davie, I don't have to tell you what it's like for a coordinator to be on the winning side 29 straight times. That's just phenomenal.
And the thing you like about Gene Chizik, he's humble. He tells you he was at a great program at Auburn that has a bunch of good defensive players with Tommy Tuberville, and he comes in here to Texas and he inherited the same thing. But you're right, 29 straight wins is an amazing stat.
What I love is how he downplays it. We want to come in, we all want to talk in the media about his streak, and he said, you know, it's about the players. It's not about me. As Coach just said, he's been around a lot of great players and a team that believes in his philosophy, and that's helped him to become a great coordinator, future great head coach.
You know what's amazing to me? Ohio State now, how talented are they? They had 5 first-round draft picks last year that left this program, correct? And 9 overall draft picks. Yep. To come down here and do what they did tonight with a young football team.
Buckeyes will use a timeout here with 1:41.
When 49 automotive journalists voted on the best of the best, one truck.
And to be a great note here, if Texas doesn't score the first time ever that a #1 has gone on the road and held a #2 to single digits.
Team breaking in 9 new defensive starters, goes on the road, holds Texas so far to 284 yards of total offense and 7 points. An impressive and amazing feat by this Ohio State defense. We've talked a lot about Gene Chizik, but Jim Haycock on the other side, defensive coordinator, did a great job for Ohio State.
Well, today's Chevrolet players of the game. There they are, the 2 quarterbacks, Troy Smith, Colt McCoy. Troy had a huge night, 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. What a big night for Troy Smith and the Buckeyes.
We may have differing opinions up here about the Heisman after 2 weeks, but the reason Troy Smith is a Heisman candidate over his own teammate Teddy Ginn is because the way he provides leadership and because his hands are on the football every single play for this Ohio State offense.
And my thoughts go to Colt McCoy, a happy-go-lucky, kind of bright-eyed guy. Everything's going great. Everything's going wonderful. He will now find out what it's like to be a major college quarterback in a place like Austin, because I don't care how much they love the name, the heat will start to happen right now on this kid. We'll find out how he responds after this game.
What was the name of the town?
Tuscola.
He went from Tuscola to all of a sudden the big stage.
So we want to take a quick look at the ESPNU All-State Standings review, because I mentioned earlier Notre Dame's going to jump a very, very impressive win. USC could jump up to #2. We'll be out there in the Coliseum, Nebraska, USC next week. All right, Kirk, You got to vote. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna keep Ohio State obviously at 1, but Notre Dame was 2 for me last week, so Notre Dame for me will be 2, and then USC at 3 with Auburn at 4.
I got to teach him how to promote the upcoming game, Bob.
So you're leading me towards USC?
USC,
Are you going to tee me up on USC now?
Go Trojans.
You know, there's some things that Lee Corso hasn't taught him yet. You know,
Little tease there.
There's a first down and Self and Young out to the this was great fun this week, and I'll tell you, Kirk, nobody works any harder in college football than you do. I can't believe your schedule. And Bob, we look forward to seeing you out on the West Coast. We had great fun with this. It's such a wonderful staff to deal with. Folks, I'm at practice the other day waiting for Max to come out. Here comes the golf cart, and guess who's sitting next to him? There's Bob Davies down over there. He and the coach are coming to practice together. That was pretty good, that, Kirk.
Yeah, until you pushed me out and yanked me out and jumped on the cart.
There's the swing incomplete now. So Troy Smith is the hero of the night, and boy, he's put together some great games. It's wonderful to see this progress of a young man. You know, some youngsters don't make it; they fall by the wayside for whatever variety of reasons. And but this young man hung in there, took his punishment, came back better than ever. It's terrific.
Start looking at the big picture now for Ohio State. It's a non-conference game, you know. Conference games always matter, but you start thinking about a chance to maybe run the table, and they have some big themes coming up on the road later that we'll probably have a chance to see them playing.
You bet. And they'll have a dandy to go down to Iowa City. There's a back with a great future, huh? Charles has got that little burst. Bob, it won't be long before he takes one to the house against somebody. They play Rice, I believe, don't they? Next week. Go ahead.
You know what's great about him is you think about him being a track guy running a 10-100, but he doesn't play football. He's a football player who happens to show up and is able to run a 10-1. He is not a track guy. He is a tough football player.
Well, they found another star linebacker, didn't they?
Sure did.
There's McCoy. Laurinaitis is there. Pops will be proud of him tonight.
Kirk, you played in a lot of big games. You agree with me, nothing is more fun than to come into an environment like this, and you've got your little group of 4,000 fans, and enjoy this victory on the road. This is about as good as it gets as a football player or a coach to come into this stadium like this and win this game.
Especially after the way Ohio State and Texas had a classic last year in Columbus, and you felt that the winner had a shot to get to the national title, and the Longhorns eventually won. I think that's been burning the fans and the team to get back to have an opportunity to play Texas, and now to have the upper hand after last year. You probably see a pretty good celebration with the 4,000 fans in the corner when the clock goes off.
There's a lot of classy fans down here. I talked to some Buckeyes who traveled down here, and they said the folks have been awful nice to them, and then they walked around the streets of Austin, and they've had a good time bringing the band down in here. There you are, part of the Buckeye Nation. And over at the Irwin Center, I'm sure they've enjoyed it on the big screen over there. Athletic Director Gene Smith, he was the host for a big group that came down here. And they just had a wonderful time, and of course, winning the football game. Well, that's just frosting, folks. And there's a penalty. That might have been a face mask. I don't know. We'll hang on to Selvin Young, cutting across the field, looking to pick up a block, and he's to the 23 with the final seconds right there, and Anderson Russell making the stop. But again, there was a penalty flag thrown. That was holding. I was wrong about that. I thought there might have been a hand right there. But so Mack Brown and his staff will go back to work. He's still got plenty left on the table. And one thing about losing early, you can gain some ground. You don't want to be losing late in this BCS thing, but early you can come back a little bit.
Well, we're going to find out how good Texas is in the coming weeks. It's a much tougher schedule this year than what they had a year ago. And if Terrell Brown affected this team on defense, that's one thing. But personally, I want to see the fire. I want to see the intensity and the leadership that this team played with last year, because tonight it wasn't on display.
All I can say, folks, is that Ohio State came to Austin and messed with Texas. And there's the handshake. Let's go to Lisa.
Great. Hey, good job.
Thanks, Brent. Troy, it turns out that the difference in the game was that touchdown that you guys scored late in the first half. What did you see on that defense that made you audible?
It was just basic calls all day involving their safety. That was a great play, but the whole game was a good game. Without the guys up front doing a great job, I think we only allowed 1 sack today, and that was huge. It was them up front.
Now, knowing that one of their key corners was suspended for this game, how were you able to just pick apart those secondary?
I can't say enough, more than, it's our game plan. It's our coaching. It's the coaching staff. They put in endless hours of film study. And, we are in there with them also, but it's our staff. They do a great job.
After that heartbreaking loss in Columbus last year, what's it like for you to get this one here on their turf now?
Oh, no. It's not a revenge thing. Any and every win that we get during the course of the season is a good win.
All right, thanks a lot. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Brent.
Thank you, Lisa. Troy Smith, a serious Heisman candidate now, as he leads the Buckeyes to a 24-7 victory in Austin, Texas. And here tonight, folks, it was the thrill of it for the Ohio State Buckeyes.